I tell you, that was such a pretty tune that, David Frank and I were talking in the background, and we decided that we would just let that one play, because that was a rendition of the Nine Inch Nails tune that Johnny Cash made famous, a tune called Hurt, done by a couple of artists that are available for download on YouTube, a couple of young fellows that published as Two Cellos. Cellos, by the way, is C-E-L-L-O-S, for those of you who never learned how to spell. But if you search Two Cellos on YouTube, you'll find a number of very nice tunes that those guys have published, and it's some very good music. But now how the heck did I do that? I'm not sure how I managed to. It looks like I somehow managed to start another tune. That was not supposed to happen. In any case, it's now time to bring in Mr. David Frank. Now, David is a regular on our programming for the United We Strike Marathon. And not only is he aware that we have some problems, but he actually has some solutions to discuss with us. And one of the things we'd like to start off this discussion with is, we've had a little bit of a situation going on in Ukraine recently. And those folks, like most people in the world, seem to be in a position where they're offered two choices, neither one of which appears to be very desirable. What do you think, David? Those folks in the Ukraine, it seems like they're being offered the choice between a bunch of Russian thugs or a bunch of EU thugs. I mean, is their system really that much different than what we've got now?
I think it's the same thing. We get to vote for our thugs, but they need a system that works for everybody, and that's what we're promoting here. We're promoting a system that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people, using 21st century communication technology that we've never had before to give everyone a voice. And when you look at what's going on in the Ukraine, Gary, those people are just standing up for a voice. They want a voice in the world that they live in, on the issues that affect their lives. That's what they want. That's what we want. That's what the people in Israel and Palestine and Africa and everywhere, that's what they all want. And, we really have the technology now where we don't need these sociopathic, egomaniac leaders telling us how to live our lives. They've already proven beyond a doubt that they have no clue what's good for us. We know what's good for us, and that's why we need to start using this technology and empowering everybody. Right now, out of 300 million brain cells in America, we're using 535, and it's a brain-dead system. And even those brain cells are corrupt because they've all been bribed by lobbyists representing special interests, not to make good and right decisions for us, but to make horrible decisions. They're like the Keystone Cops. The Keystone Cops made money for being stupid. And that's what these guys have done. They've taken the money and they're making stupid decisions that ruin our lives. So we need to change that. And I think the exciting thing about what we're trying to do in America is if we can change the system in America, where we can show people in other countries how they no longer have to be victims of these goofy sociopathic leaders that are running and ruining their lives, we can change the world. But it's got to start here in America. And, that's what I've been doing for the last 25 years, is letting people know that, hey, the politicians don't have the answers for us. We, the people, have the answers for ourselves. So that's what I do, and, trying to get the message out there.
Well, David, I've talked to so many people who understand that the situation that we've got right now is not what they were taught in government class. It just, and they seem to know something is wrong. They feel it in their bones that, the other shoe's about to drop. But what I see from most of them is they're waiting for Superman or Green Lantern to come flying in and save them from the problem, instead of taking control of their lives and doing something for themselves. Can you give us how, if I stood up, if I woke up one day and said, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, if I had my Howard Beale moment,
right?
how would I start? I think that's the problem that a lot of people have. They feel helpless. They feel like, they really don't know how to get the ball rolling.
They don't have a plan. And the plan is if you're tired of a top-down system that benefits the people at the top, and that's what we have. We have 5% of the population that now owns 80% of the wealth, and that leaves 95% of us fighting over the 20% that's left. What we need is a plan to take it back and have a more fair and equal system. And when you wake up, realize that you don't have to tackle America from in Washington or even state capitals. You start in your own community. And what you do is you start putting the necessary communication technology together in your own community so that you can have decisions made of the people, by the people, and for the people. Before our show started, Gary, you and I were talking about you having to file your income tax form. Well, what 100 million people have to report to 535 goofballs in Washington who we know are beyond a doubt corrupt. Why are we doing this every year? Why are we continuing with an income tax system that is truly not voluntary like it was sold to us? And it really isn't going places where we want our hard-earned tax money to go. Why don't we keep our tax money right in our own community and pay for the things in our piece of America that we want fixed? We want good health care in our community. We want good education. We want a good infrastructure, a judicial system that works for everyone, not like the one we have now where the judges and the lawyers are in bed together and they're sending innocent people to prison while guilty people go free. It doesn't work any longer. That's why the people in your community need to start fixing your piece of America, starting in your own community. Don't wait for the idiots in Washington, D.C. to tell you how to fix your community. They don't know how to fix it. They're the ones that ruined it. Same thing with state capitals. State capitals are nothing but the middle tier of the multi-level marketing pyramid scam. They're making money off the sale of cigarettes that are killing us. They're making money off the sale of alcohol that's killing us. They're making money off of gambling that's causing divorce, bankruptcy, suicide, all these horrific sociological problems. They're making money off of extortion when they kick you out of your home or your business because you can't pay the property tax. You, the people in your own community, need to start raising issues like that, debating issues like that, voting on issues like that, and you start rebuilding your community, your piece of America, starting in your own community. And that's what we push. We have the technology now. We're voting on American Idol. We vote on Dancing with the Stars. We vote on CNN, Fox. Why aren't we voting on whether we think the IRS should have any jurisdiction whatsoever in our community? Why don't we vote on whether maybe somebody's got a better tax system for our community, a better health care system, whatever it is? We've got all these different channels. We got the travel channel, the food channel, the sports channel. We have all these different channels. What you need in your own community is your own local issues television and radio channel where you, the people, start presenting ideas to make your community better. You've got little pieces of the puzzle to make your education system better, your environment better, whatever it is. You present it to the community over your local issues television and radio channel. You debate it because you want people to be educated on the issue, and you let people vote on it with any touch-tone phone by building a computer database in your community that has citizen ID numbers and PIN numbers. It will allow people to vote with any touch-tone phone. Their call will go into the community database. It'll ask for an ID number and PIN number, which is like a first name and a last name. It'll ask you for your what issue number you want to vote on. Press 1 for yes, 2 for no. Count your vote, block you out from voting more than once. And we can now have decisions made of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's the plan. It's really, really simple. Got a TV? Yeah. Got a touch-tone phone? Yeah. Well, why don't you just watch issues over the TV and vote by phone? What do you need somebody to represent you for? So that's the plan, Gary.
So what we're talking about here is we're talking about a high-tech form of direct democracy where the majority truly rules. We're no longer concerned with a representative form of government.
Well, it's a misrepresentative form of government, and you don't want to pay some lawyer to misrepresent you or some doctor to misrepresent you, and you definitely don't want to pay some politician to misrepresent you. I've got to laugh because people are blaming that term democracy on the problems that we have in America. We've been led to believe that because you democratically elect the person that's going to rule over you, that's somehow a democracy. That's not a democracy. That's a dictatorship. And a democracy is where the people raise the issues, the people debate the issues, and the people vote on the issues. And the exciting thing about it is the majority and the minority always change depending on the issue. And the minority has nothing to do with skin color or nationality or religion or anything like that, because all Christians don't feel the same way about the issues. All black people don't feel the same way about the issues. All Jews, all gays. No, this is the fallacy that has been shoved down our throats because they want us to believe that, don't let the people vote on the issues because that's mob rule. That's democracy. Let the lawyers, the politicians in Washington tell everybody the way they should live their lives. We've tried that, and now we're broke. The country's broke. The people are broke. They're losing their homes. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their lives from lack of health care because these politicians have taken a piece of the action, just like the mafia did and is still doing. They're all getting a piece of the action, and we can't afford them any longer. That's why we need a new system starting in our own communities. Very simple. Use the TV for something other than sex and violence. Start voting on important things in your lives. Empower the people. Have the people feel as though it's their community. It doesn't belong to the 9 idiots that sit on the city council. It belongs to we the people. And start coming up with ideas to make your community better and quit waiting for the idiots in Washington, state capitals, or on the council to do it for you.
Well, of course, a couple, 200-300 years ago, when some boys with long hair who most would have considered radicals decided to form this country, communications weren't that great. It took a few days to get a letter from Baltimore to Washington. It was a somewhat different system. So the idea of a representative government in those times made sense. So what they did was they gave us this social contract called the Constitution that put strict limits on what government was allowed to consider. There were certain things that were put out of the purview of government. It was okay, people are allowed to say what they want to say. People are allowed to own weapons. There were certain God-given rights that were accepted as outside government's purview. Would a system like what you're talking about be bound by something similar? Would there be certain inalienable rights that government, regardless of whether the majority chose to change them, certain rights that would be considered untouchable?
Yeah, the very first right, the right that our founders thought was the most important, freedom of speech, freedom of voice. That's what this system does. It gives everyone the freedom of speech, the freedom to have their voice heard on issues that affect their lives. This fulfills the goal of the Constitution. Those people lived in an entirely different world than we live in today. They had no idea about televisions and touch-tone phones and computers. Those politicians were our electrical impulses that got on horseback and rode back and forth to Washington or state capitals or downtown and supposedly carried our voices. Supposedly, those were the voices of, by, and for the people. Those aren't the voices of, by, and for the people. Those are the voices of the lobbyists that have represented the special interests, the corporations that where greedy little pricks hide behind the legal curtain and figure out ways to screw the American people and people around the world, for that matter, while we sell weapons of mass destruction and make huge commissions off of these sales, all feeding the military-industrial complex. And, excuse me one second. Let me take care of that. Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
And that's what the whole system is. It's all what we've learned from history is that top-down systems benefit the people at the top. That's all we've ever had. We've had the king and the lords and the serfs and a top-down system. And we now have the technology where we really don't need that kind of system anymore. It was said thousands of years ago, there will be a day where the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And that's what we have right now. That's what we can have right now with the technology that we have.
Well, we've got. Do you need to
hold on, Gary? 1 second. I got to take care of this. Just 1 second. Sorry, Gary.
That's all right. I played out a little music there for a second.
Good job. You do a great job, by the way, Gary. I tell you, you are really, really good.
All the fancy button pushing going on here. It's sometimes hard to hit the right button though. That's okay.
It's not only button pushing. It's I've worked with you for quite a few months now, and you really do a great job at getting ideas out there. And I just want you to know I really appreciate the work you do.
Well, I appreciate that, but I want to review the bidding here now. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got a plan where our cable access TV channel, and most major cities have at least one or two of those. I'm not so sure about rural areas. I'm not sure whether rural areas are well represented in such a thing, but that's okay. Let's take it piece by piece. I'm interested in certain issues. I watch somebody give an argument for a given issue. I note its issue number. I dial up on my touch-tone phone and I say I'm interested in voting on this particular issue. I type in my identifying PIN number. I cast my vote. All right, I've said my piece. Now, another worry is, there's a lot of people out there who are big on this secret ballot thing. Now, frankly, I'm not sure when the secret ballot became so important, because in the early days, everybody, gathered at the courthouse, and the recorder of the court would read off the items that were available to vote on, and the folks in the community who were interested in voting, when it came time for them to vote, they'd raise their hand. And it was pretty obvious how everybody voted. And then somehow this secret ballot became sacrosanct, and everybody seems to think that that's the right way to cast a vote. Why would I be afraid of somebody knowing my position on an issue?
Well, on this system, nobody will know your position.
But the computer knows, and we know with the NSA, they're going to be sniffing in the back door of my voting computer regardless of what I do. Those sons of my guns get into anything.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to control our community computer. The people in our community are going to do that. And you're going to set up a system that's a fail-safe kind of thing. It's like at the bank, there are people working on the computers that control the money in your checking account and your savings account and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's definitely possible that they could go in there and steal your money. But the reality is they don't do that most of the time. And they've got a much stronger reason to steal your money than they do to try and get another vote on should marijuana be legal in your community, or should there be uniforms in schools, or should we have better lunches for kids, or whatever it is. These are just ideas that are going to make up they're little pieces of the puzzle that are going to make up what your community looks like. And you're going to quit waiting for the people who don't live in your community, the people in Washington or state capitals, to make those decisions for you. Just, start acting like an adult and start deciding what kind of world that you want to live in. And your community is the world that you live in. And if everybody really starts getting down and coming up with good ideas, ideas to bring your cost of living down around you so that we can start to enjoy life again, as opposed to handing over 50 cents of every dollar that we make to fund the system that doesn't work for us, we'll be happier and we'll have the things that we want in our communities. provided for us, and that's the way it works. We don't need more money. We don't need to have the government have more money. We need them to have good ideas. All they want is money, and by doing that, we the people have no money left, and that's why we need a new system that can capture the ideas of the people in your community. Remember, federal, state, and local government is where great ideas go to die. What we need is a system where great ideas go to thrive.
Well, one other issue, we're starting to run close on time, but there is one other issue with this that I'd like to get through there now. How, under a system like what you propose, how would we get people to participate? Because, one of the big problems we got right now is, even with the system as screwed up as it is, there are really a very small minority of the population that even takes the time to vote. Now, that may indeed be because they've come to realize that it doesn't really matter whether they vote for the sociopathic party or the psychopathic party. They're still going to get screwed. That may just be why that so few decide to sit it out. But, we have such modest participation in our electoral system now. How would your system change that and get more people to participate?
Well, first of all, you make it accessible, as opposed to going down on Tuesday once a year and standing in line and voting for, like you said, doo-doo or poo-poo. And you make it accessible because, hey, when you're channel surfing, all of a sudden you go, whoa, what's this channel? This is my local issues channel. Hey, I know that guy. He's my neighbor. He's talking about an issue. And that'll be your most watched program. And the majority of the people in America have figured it out. That's why they don't vote. They don't want to participate in voting for the lesser of the evils. You still get evil. And so, instead of giving them that horrible alternative, you give them a good alternative. Do you want marijuana legal or not legal in your community? You want a different tax system in your community. Are property taxes constitutional or not? Let we the people to decide that. Not 9 people that sit on a state Supreme Court or a federal Supreme Court. These are lawyers. Lawyers are taught to take any side of an issue they're paid to take. That's who we have making decisions for us. The word lawyer came from the word liar. And we don't need liars making decisions. Years ago it was said that the truth will make us free, not lies. Well, if the truth will make us free, lies will enslave us. And that's why we're enslaved now. And that's why people are depressed. And you have to make it accessible. You have to give the people a system that they believe in, that empowers them. And that's what this does. We have the basic technology. All we've got to do is put it together. The politicians aren't going to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. I hope everybody takes a moment and goes to our website. It's onevoicenow.org, O-N-E, voicenow.org. Take 10 minutes, listen to the video on the program, on the site. It'll tell you exactly how you can get busy in your own community. Installing your local issues television and radio channel. We're working with public broadcasting right now to get them on board so we can get it transformed over to something that really broadcasts the public. We're working with our city council to obtain the finances that we need to actually build the thing, and we're going to start raising, debating, and voting on issues. And we're going to start deciding what kind of community we want for ourselves and our families and our friends.
Well, I tell you, one thing I would probably suggest is that even more than the public access TV channel, which in my area is usually some burnt-out old hippie trying to sell you on some, crystals that he found in his backyard or something, perhaps make those issue debates published on YouTube for on-demand vid. Now, that might actually be a better bet. But, you're right. You're right.
How
it's put together.
You do it all. You get the information out to the people. TV, radio, over the internet. Well, however, you do it all. You use all this amazing technology, and you give the people the information. And if it's something they have an interest in, make it very easy for them to respond.
And of course, there will be some who will be real fast to push the button to vote for legalizing marijuana in their community. There will be others who will be real fast to vote about improving the sewers. But people will get to express their opinions about issues that are important to them. That is the basis of it.
Absolutely. It's called empowerment. We're all frustrated. I'm looking at our educational system. It's a piece of junk. I'm looking at our infrastructure caving in. We paid taxes for so long, our streets should be paved with gold. Our education system should be better than ever. Our healthcare system should be better than ever. Our judicial system, we have all this great technology, and we keep sending innocent people to jail and prison, and we have guilty people going free. None of it makes any sense anymore. The people that we have relied on to do our thinking for us have been bribed to make bad decisions for us. We've got to look in the mirror and realize that the only person that should be representing you is you.
Well, I tell you, that was a heck of a presentation, David. As always, I appreciate your participation in the United We Strike Marathon, but man, we have run out of time. I got to break us out of here.
All right, Gary. Thanks again. Nice to be with you.
Always a pleasure.